This is a tutorial on the handler model trimmer, wet model trimmer, what to do when you get one and what to do if there are certain problems. This is a handler model trimmer, model 31X-SV. This one is equipped with a solenoid valve. All handler model trimmers come standard with a 1/4 inch coarse Carbodent reversible and reinforced wheel. The wheel is reinforced for safety to prevent it from breaking during operation. We also supply every one of our model trimmers with 2 rubber suction cup feet that have to be screwed onto the base. That allows the trimmer to raise up in the front for better water flow, and it also is an added safety feature. All handler model trimmers come with the necessary tools and accessories to begin work immediately. There is a faucet adapter to connect to a sink and a drain hose to drain back into the sink. As I said, this one has a solenoid valve that a plumber would bring a copper water line to, so that when you turn the trimmer on, the water would automatically activate. That is an option on all handler model trimmers. This is a 10-inch wheel. Handler makes a model trimmer with a 12-inch wheel. Horsepower is 1/4 horsepower, which is the 31X. There's a 1/3 horsepower, a 1/2 horsepower, and a 3/4 horsepower. When operating a handler model trimmer, it is important that you read and follow instructions for safety, and it is important that you always unplug the unit when performing any maintenance. Once you've put the rubber suction cup feet on, and once you've plugged it in and added the accessories for the water flow, you're now able to operate the trimmer by flipping the on-off switch. The motor is running dry right now, so it's making a little noise, but as you can tell, it is a very powerful motor, even at a 1/4 horsepower. The motor is maintenance free. It has a ball bearing capacitor start motor, so you never have to perform any maintenance. All you really have to do is, after every use, clean the model trimmer by opening the front door, unplug it to disconnect it from the power source. Open the front door by unscrewing the doorknob on the left. There's a small washer, be careful not to lose that. Open it up and clean out the model trimmer, all debris here and in the drain tube. If you do that regularly, you'll keep your model trimmer clean and free of debris, and you'll have better operation for years to come. If you notice when you turn your handler model trimmer on that there's some vibration, here is how you handle that. First, you unplug the machine. You can open the door and mark the wheel at the 12 o'clock position. With a Phillips head screwdriver, you remove the screws on the front of the housing and tip the housing back as if it were the hood of a car. Using the wrenches that handler supplies with the unit, you take the angled one on the front nut so you don't scratch your knuckles, and you loosen this front nut. Put the other wrench on the hub in the back and just loosen the nut enough so that you can adjust your wheel. Holding the hub in the back, adjust your wheel 1 hour on the face of a clock to about 11 o'clock. Using your wrenches again, tighten it back up securely, close the front drawer, close the hood, plug it in when everything is secure, and start it up. If you notice that the vibration hasn't changed, go back to the beginning, but this time take your wheel from 12 o'clock, loosen it up, and adjust it to the 1 o'clock position. You'll notice that if you do it either way, you will reduce the vibration. The reason is the wheel is balanced when it's manufactured, but when it's installed on the model trimmer and or it gets jostled in shipping, sometimes the ratio of the weight of the wheel to the hub becomes out of balance. Therefore, you need to make that adjustment in order to balance the trimmer wheel and have it run with minimum vibration. As you're using your handler model trimmer over time, and depending upon use, this wheel is going to wear and it may begin to vibrate. At that point, you can make the same adjustment and or reverse the wheel and use the other side, which is the more prudent way to do it. Once the wheel has worn out on both sides, of course, contact Handler or go to handlermfg.com or ask your supplier for a new wheel. If you find when you plug your Handler model trimmer in and go to use it that you hear a rubbing noise, it can be the hub rubbing against the front housing. This can be caused by two things. Number one, the door could be closed too tight, which is an easy fix. Or number two, the hub could have shifted in shipment, and we'll show you how to fix that. First, check that the door is not closed too tight by simply adjusting the knob that opens and closes the door. If you open the door slightly, it may eliminate the rubbing noise. If the rubbing noise continues, then open the door by unscrewing the knob and removing it and the washer. Be careful not to lose the washer. What you would do at this point is take a 3/16 Allen wrench, and in the back where this brass hub is you would loosen the set screw on the hub that secures the whole hub and wheel to the shaft of the motor. Once you've loosened that set screw in the back, simply push back on the wheel slightly to adjust it back in place where it is. Then using your 3/16 Allen wrench or Allen key, tighten up the set screw on the hub again to secure the hub onto the shaft of the motor. At that point, you should be fine. Close the door, tighten it with the doorknob so that you have a seal on the gasket. Plug your trimmer back in and start it up, and you shouldn't have that rubbing noise any further. One of the things that can happen with a model trimmer over time or when it comes out of the box is there could be not enough water flow or too much water flow. Typically, if there's not enough water flow over time, what happens is this spray tube where the water comes out of clogs. What you need to do basically is take a paper clip. There are 11 paper clip size holes on this spray tube, and ream out each of these holes with a paper clip. Then undo the set screw on the bottom of this stainless steel spray tube. Using a pipe cleaner, ream it out thoroughly. This should remove all debris that may be clogging the spray tube and inhibiting the water flow. As always, make sure the unit's unplugged when performing any maintenance. If you find that there's too much water pressure, too much water flow, there's one of two things that could happen. A, you have too much water pressure and you need to reduce the amount of water coming out of the spigot or the plumbed water line. If you reduce the water pressure and you still have too much water splashing, it may mean that the spray tube is pointing the holes out slightly. At that point, what you would do is take a pair of pliers and turn the spray tube in slightly, 1/8 of a turn or maybe 1/4 of a turn, so that the holes face inward and not out. If you do that, you will have less chance of water splashing out this way. When the Handler model trimmer is manufactured, the holes on the spray tube are pointed in, but if the spray tube loosens up, you may need to turn it back in to reduce water flow. 9 times out of 10, excessive water flow or excessive splashing is a result of too much water pressure, and that water is now splashing out.